The movie opens in the North Pacific, near a gigantic garbage patch. A team of researchers led by Sophia and her husband Chris have come here to report on how the marine life is being affected. During this, they receive signal from a shark that they've been following for the past year. Realizing that it's fast approaching them, 4 divers, including Chris, quickly put on their suits and jump into the water. Sophia keeps an eye on them from the control room and directs them. After a while, the divers come across a carcass of a sperm whale, which appears to be bitten by a large creature. But before they can take a look, a group of sharks suddenly shows up at the scene. They seem to be frightened, like they're being pursued. Then, seconds later, a large 7 meters female shark appears, and it is the same one they have been tracking. Sophia is shocked by its size, as just a few months ago, it was only 2 meters. Chris is frightened and proposes that they leave, but Sophia wants to take a specimen of the shark, whom she has named Lilith. Chris then reluctantly pierces the beast with an arrow, but this turns out to be a big mistake. Lilith becomes angry and begins to circle the divers quickly. Before they can react, it attacks them violently, shredding them to pieces. Back in the control room, Sophia is horrified to hear their screams. She immediately grabs a harpoon and jumps into the water to help them. After swimming a few meters down, however, she finds her husband's arm severed. After that, Lilith suddenly comes at her and attacks her. Sophia manages to avoid the shark, but the shark gets caught in a fishing net and pulls her down to the bottom of the ocean. Under the great pressure, her eardrums start to burst and she screams in pain. However, before she passes out, somehow Sophia cuts the fishing net and makes it to the surface. Then the film flashes forward to 3 years later and Sophia is now employed at a marine center. She still blames herself for her husband's death and has been struggling to cope with the trauma. One night, she is approached by a young student named Mika, who tells her that she is a big fan of her work. She also reveals that her group has been tracking the same shark, Lilith, that has become notorious for killing people. Although Sophia wants nothing to do with it, Mika convinces her to check out her private NGO. In the following scene, they reach the NGO where Mika and her friends are involved in the welfare of aquatic animals. Then, Sophia meets with Ben, a hacker who can track shark tags. She shows him that Lilith has somehow ended up in the same river in Paris, on his computer. Sophia believes it is not possible, since sharks cannot live in freshwater. However, Mika says that some of them have adapted due to the dirty oceans. Then she proposes that they release the poor animal before it gets sick and dies. Mika wants Sophia's help in communicating with the shark. However, the latter believes it's a ridiculous idea and walks away. Sophia goes home that night and decides to follow the shark just for fun. To her surprise, she discovers that it has come to Paris. Meanwhile, the activists, Mika and Ben, sail through the Seine in hopes to find the shark. They stop under a bridge and Mika decides to dive into the water alone. After a bit of looking around, she comes across a car which is riddled with massive bite marks. It is evident that Lilith is behind this. Ben sees the cops coming, and she begins to pull the rope to let Mika know, but the latter foolishly lets go of the rope, as she wants to stay a bit longer. Then she starts her search again until she feels something large is close by. This makes her a bit nervous and she comes back up. The cops then catch up with Mika and escort her off. The next day at the police station, one of the cops, Adil, asks Mika what she was doing in the river. She says that she was following a shark. The cop doesn't believe her, which is to be expected. Just then, another officer arrives in the room, saying they have an emergency. Sophia, on the other hand, is by the river, attempting to follow the shark. She sees a child playing by the beach and tells him to leave. Moments later, she is approached by Adil and Mika, who tell her that a homeless man was brutally mauled to death last night. They show her the body, and she immediately identifies that it's the doing of Lilith. Adil then leads them to the police chief, as things have slowly begun to go out of hand. Sophia tries to make her understand that there's a gigantic shark in the Seine. However, the chief believes it's impossible. The trio persists and she asks them to test their theory first. Later, Adil and his team decide to go in the river and look for the shark. Sophia tries to stop them, claiming she can use her device to track it, but Adil wants to take its pictures. After some time, they reach the tracking site and 3 divers enter the water. The first thing they see is a huge dead fish with half its side bitten off. Meanwhile, the stupid activist, Mika, is watching all of this from a distance. Assuming that they're going to kill the shark, she calls Ben and asks her to turn off the tracking device. The latter reluctantly does so with the help of her hacking skills. The divers are terrified within the water, as they feel a huge creature surrounding them. But before anything bad happens, they are immediately asked to return by Sophia and Adil. This is because her tracking device all of a sudden has stopped working. The divers say they didn't see anything, but they felt the shark's presence. Adil then checks the recording made by the sonar and confirms that Lilith is indeed here. That night, Mika posts a video on her social media showing that a shark is hiding in the Seine. She stresses the need to save it before the poor animal gets sick. Meanwhile, Adil, Sophia, and the police chief go to the mayor's office for a private meeting. It seems that an international triathlon is coming in a couple of days and that thousands of people are going to be converging on the Seine area. Sophia tells them about the deadly shark and proposes that they cancel the event, but the recalcitrant mayor flatly denies, claiming that they have already spent enough on it. Instead, she instructs the cops to take care of the issue within 24 hours. The group is ready to catch the shark alive, as killing it would be inhumane. Sophia recommends that they attract it to the bridge and sedate it. They can then carry it to the National Marine Center when it is unconscious. Suddenly, Ben shows up with a worried look on her face. She tells him that the shark is resting near the catacombs, which are part of the city where the dead are buried. Ben says his friend, Mika, has gone mad because she is organizing a group of activists to go to the catacombs. She would like to use sonar to attract the shark and somehow save it. Ben also tells her that she has now activated its tracker, so they can now find out exactly where the shark is. Sophia and the cops enter the catacombs that evening through a broken opening. They soon find themselves among the crazy activists who have surrounded a big pool where the shark is at. Mika even dives inside the water with a sonar, adamant on rescuing the animal. Sophia and Adil shout at her to get out, but the retarded girl refuses. After a while, a big fin begins to surround her, and everyone is scared. But they become even more shocked when a second, smaller fin, shows up. This shockingly means only one thing: Lilith has given birth to an offspring. The baby shark then comes to Mika and she pets it like a dog. She says that the animals are harmless and they need help. Now Adil knows that an attack is coming, so he quickly dives into the water to save the girl. He manages to grab her, but she yanks him away and swims further. The next second, Lilith jumps out of the water and attacks Mika, killing her in a satisfying fashion. The onlooking people are horrified and they start running for their lives haphazardly. During the chaos, several activists as well as cops fall into the water. Most of them are killed right away, while some have their arms and legs amputated. Poor Ben also slips and falls into the pool. As she tries to climb up, she accidentally gets kneed in the head. This knocks her out and she ends up drowning. Meanwhile, Lilith also rips apart her offspring, likely due to the fact that it was touched by the human earlier. In the aftermath of this massacre, the injured people are rushed to the hospital. Sophia and the cops then go and investigate the dead shark and discover that it's actually adapted to freshwater. Besides, if Sophia cuts open its belly with a scalpel, she finds babies inside. This shocks her to the core, as the shark was only a month itself. After some more investigation, Sophia discovers that the animal is reproducing by parthenogenesis, which means it doesn't require a male partner. It then finally dawns on her that Lilith is a completely new species that they were unaware of. She tells Adil that if they don't get rid of it, the sharks will infest the oceans and destroy everything. Later, the two go to the mayor's office and tell her what has happened. But with just one day left to the event, the mayor does not want to cancel it. Instead, she says that the military will take care of the security and there will be no problem. Adil and Sophia are furious at her ignorance and decide to do something about it themselves. At the police station that evening, they round up all the cops and even call in 2 bomb specialists. The plan is simple: to go underwater and blow up the goddamn monsters. In the next scene, Adil and Sophia go to the place where the shark was seen last and then they enter the water. A team observes their movement from the boat, providing them with instructions. The two have brought with them a propeller, lights, and even a sonar device to keep the sharks in one place. They continue swimming for several minutes until they finally come across Lilith's breeding spot. To their utmost shock, they notice not one but thousands of baby sharks lurking around. In other places, the triathlon is starting and many people have congregated on the beach. The mayor talks to the reporters and assures them that there's nothing to worry about. She then boldly starts the competition and hundreds of swimmers jump into the water. Back in the water, Sophia and Adil proceed with the mission and turn on the sonar device. The bomb experts then begin work and begin to attach the explosives. But as one of them attempts to push the detonator, he is attacked and ripped to shreds by the baby sharks. Sophia urges everyone to stay still as it is the only way they can remain undetected. But the second bomb expert gets panicky and decides to press the detonator anyway. This attracts the sharks towards him, resulting in his painful death. With seconds left in the time, Sophia uses the propeller and pulls Adil out of danger. They manage to make it out just in time, as the bomb explodes and kills all the baby sharks. When they reach the surface, Sophia assists Adil to get on the boat, but then she swims back to look at something. Suddenly, the mother shark comes out of the debris, startling her. Sophia quickly reaches the surface and tries to warn the others about the danger. However, it's too late, as the huge shark flings the boat into the air, scattering everyone. It then devours all the cops one after another, until Sophia and Adil are the only ones remaining. The two immediately get on top of the capsized boat, but the shark does not attack them. It instead goes towards the triathlon, where hundreds of humans are swimming in the open river. Then, in a terrifying twist, Lilith starts to attack the swimmers in succession. The onlooking spectators and reporters can only watch as the water soon turns red. A few moments later, the military show up and begin firing at the shark. Adil and Sophia call them to stop, but they are too far away to hear. The mother shark evades all of the bullets with her incredible speed and awareness. Adil and Sophia are finally rescued after a while, but the army doesn't stop their shooting. Unfortunately, they encountered some explosives, which were dropped here during the Second World War. Then a big explosion occurs, destroying the bridge and raising the water level considerably. Hundreds of onlookers are smoked by the explosion while the others are swept away by the flood. The whole city is flooded in no time and many lives are lost. At the end, Sophia is pulling an unconscious Adil, and she sees a few baby sharks nearby. With Paris now in ruins, they are only going to cause more destruction. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, leave a comment about your favorite movie, and we will make it next. Thanks for watching.